It is. Anytime you go to a Persian gathering, like I've been waiting to try that for like 20 years. Did you guys like the Kahoot game?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sounds like you loved it. When we first planned that game, we practiced some of the questions, and the one that said, what was the significance of the Bob's turban? And he said, Akbar. So that was really funny. I wasn't sure what to do, like when they said do a comedy thing tonight, I thought I would just impersonate Mateen, but like that's like being a dead horse at this point. Like, anyone who knows me knows I've done that 1,000 times, and frankly I'm getting tired of it, so. And also I didn't want him to figure out that like, wait a minute, I'm in the AV booth, I can just turn off his mic. Thank you for being here tonight. We honestly weren't sure what the turnout would be, so we tried paying random people in the street, but after one lady threatened to call the cops, we stopped that. Sometimes you think comedy is a good idea, but there are some places that comedy really just shouldn't exist. Like, if you're at a funeral, it's a bad place to do comedy. Like, what's behind door number 2? Well, not your husband, he's dead. But for the Bicentenary, when the committee asked me to come up here and talk a little bit, I was like, yeah, sounds like a really good idea. And then like, you know, we had our meeting and everybody went home, and then I sat in my bed like, that was a really dumb idea, man. Like, well, you're gonna get up there but so here I am, so hopefully you guys will laugh and I won't go home crying too badly tonight. I want to thank Dr. Moshiran for being here and speaking. I'll be honest, Professor, I'm both happy and not so happy that you're here. I was happy to have you speak to us. I'm a little concerned that a member of the NSA is sitting here as I do this material. I would like to leave with my voting rights intact. If it's not too much to ask. I don't want to see that letter in the mail. How many of you guys have been to Ruhi before, like a Ruhi class? Put your hands up. Really? Yeah, okay, cool. So I remember I was in a Ruhi class once, and there was this girl next to me, and she was pretty attractive, and I was looking for a way to try and talk to her, try to strike up a conversation. So I couldn't think of anything to say, so finally I was just like, hey, you know that Baha'i prayer that says, unite the hearts of thy servants? It's talking about me and you. She never came back. So now I just say forgiveness prayers. Sometimes people ask me, like, what do you think is a real miracle of the Baha'i, the Babi faith? Like, what's a miracle? And I thought about it and I said, you know what? It's a real miracle that 200 years after the Bab's birth, millions of people around the world, both Baha'i and non-Baha'i, are celebrating his birthday. And if you think about it, that really is a miracle. Because I couldn't get more than 5 people on my birthday last year and I'm still alive. I mean, Atusa only came because I paid her and promised her dinner. So it was my birthday and she got the gift. So, have any of you ever found it difficult to explain feast to your non-Baha'i friends? Like, what are you doing tonight, man? You want to go watch a movie? I can't. I have feast. Like, grammatical English would dictate that you say, no, I'm going to a feast. But we Baha'is decide to take it one step further and make it a proper noun. So no, it's not a feast, it's just feast. It is the only one that matters. And then they say like, oh, okay, so you're like going to like a big dinner or something? And then I have to awkwardly say yes when all I got was some nuna paneer and like maybe some walnuts if I'm lucky. Speaking of feast, I remember like when I first came here, I was a little concerned that my feast group would spend more time debating what food should be served at feast rather than actual Baha'i affairs. And I remember thinking to myself like, this is a real Baha'i problem, this is bad. And then it quickly dawned on me that no, this is just a Persian problem, is really what this is. A lot of nervous laughter on that one. Okay. Because, like, you know, most of you know me, I'm American, I'm from the US, and like when I would go to feast back home, it was predominantly American, Western people, and you know, they would just serve whatever, nobody cared about what food was there. It was like, oh, I'm gonna put out some apple crumble and my grandmother's rhubarb pie recipe and our biscuits and gravy, whatever. And I liked that, but then I thought about it, like, you know, it's not fair to put down the Iranian Baha'i community here, because I'm rather fond of our super concentrated Iranian Baha'i community here in Sydney. For one, it's always fun for me to keep people guessing about my life. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm 32 years old, I'm a uni student, I'm from a Persian family, and I'm unmarried, which makes me a failure in most people's eyes. Yeah, you laugh, but that's my life, okay. But the fun part lies in letting people try to figure out what my end game is, because like I haven't finished my degree yet, so I haven't really focused on getting married. I work long hours at the hospital, so you don't have much time for anything else. But people often try to analyze, like, why is Vafo not married? Like, this is a real point of, like, there's a real thorn in their side. What's wrong with this guy? And like Americans, Australians, like, sorry, I'm just gonna say, like, white people in general, they don't really mind because, like, you know, they're like, well, it's his lifestyle, it's his choice, we should respect that. We should respect that. Yeah, try saying that to an Iranian guy, I should respect that. Like, get married. It's like I've personally offended you because I don't have a wife or a family of my own. Why does it bother you? Why? But Persian culture is in my roots, and I respect that culture knowing it comes from a place of caring, and more likely fuzuli, really, is what it is. But there are things about our Persian culture that I like. For example, when you go to a jalsa or some sort of Baha'i meeting, and the first thing they say is, please silence your phones. And then inevitably, some grandma's phone rings. And when it rings, it's always on the maximum setting. And they never quite know how to turn it off. The other thing is like, go get refreshments after like a Baha'i gathering. I remember I was going to get like a strawberry once and I felt like I got hit by a footy player. I was like, what the hell was that? I turned around, I was like this 90-year-old woman on a walker. I couldn't even be mad. She must have been drafted after that. I don't know. I had to go to physio. Also, do you ever notice with Persians that anytime there is a musical performance, for a crowd of Iranians, they always want to clap along. It's like they're hell-bent on ruining this performance. Oh, he practiced 3 weeks for this, let's mess it up. Look, I don't necessarily mind, per se, if Persians want to clap along. That's fine. The only problem is most older Persians have no sense of rhythm, and they clap to a random beat in their own head. So like, I'm not going to name any names, but last Sunday I went to a Bicentenary gathering, and the lady got up and she's like, I have set this like, first of all, like you could already tell this wasn't going to go well. She's like, I've written a song about the Bob's life set to like an Israeli Jewish folk song. So already I'm like, this is not going to go well. Like, and for a group of Persians. So she starts playing it, and she's like, clap along, and as you can imagine, it was just 40 different beats. Everybody clapping. I quickly pulled out my phone and had to film it. Like, it's 2019, you have to film moments like that. But look, given that we're generally, most of us here, not everybody, I know that, but most of us come from Persian Baha'i families. Like, we've grown up in pretty conservative families. Our parents generally come from Iran. I don't think any of our parents were necessarily raised here, if there were not too many. And so, like, you know, the pattern of life is you grow up, you go to school, dars mekhun, study, and then one day you'll wake up and you'll have a wife and kids. Like, that's just how it is. And then rinse and repeat. You can teach your kids the same story. Like, one day they'll just wake up and the family will be there. That's it. So, of course, being from the US, anytime there was a Baha'i conference, it was more like Baha'i matchmaking. Like, you go there, you know you've got like 72 hours to seal the deal. Otherwise, God knows when you're going to see all these peers again. It's almost like an unwritten rule. It's like between the evening program and the next morning's program, you have to find a group of Baha'is, sit with them on a couch, and figure out which one is your soulmate before the sun comes up. Otherwise, you're in a lot of trouble. Some people are looking at me like, hey man, that's not funny. Hey, it's okay, look at me, I'm here by myself, it's all good. But look, on that note, Persian Baha'i women make things difficult though. If you go to a Baha'i conference and you see like an American or an Australian, like, hey, how are you? I'm Bafa. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jane. I'm from Perth. Like, oh, Greg, nice to have you. How long have you been here? Oh, I've been here for a week with my friend Heather. Like, yeah, cool. Like, a group of us are going to lunch. Do you guys want to come? Oh, yeah, it'd be great. Let's go. Like, great. Yeah, try that with an Iranian woman. Excuse me, Belashi. Just wondering if you could tell me where, like, room C is. I'm trying to get to the program. And then she like whispers something to her friend. Look, we're not strangers here. Like, we're all Baha'is. Like, we all get along. Just want to know where the room is. That's fun. Okay. Nice meeting you. And then she'll go to her friend and be like, I think he likes me. Come on. I didn't come here for hostility. I just want to know where the room is. Okay, I'm a little concerned. I see Dr. Moshir, I'm taking notes here, so this is not a good day. If you guys don't see me anymore, just know I went down like a hero, okay? But my favorite thing though, and I hope this doesn't offend any of you, but it might. My favorite thing though is when you go to some Baha'i events and you see those guys that I can only refer to as the Baha'i gangsters. You know, the ones that have Yalba Halapa tattooed on their chest. They got a brass knuckle in the shape of a 9-pointed star. Like, they got it all. They look like as if Tupac came back to life as a Persian man. And you go up to them and go like, and you know, because I try to be like that, you know, that Baha'i quote, consort with all men in a spirit of fellowship, and I don't really know the quote, I wasn't a good Baha'i student, but something to that effect. And you go up and you go, hi, how are you? My name's Vafa. And the guy's like, Siavash. Nice to meet you, Siavash. Yeah, you too, bro. Like, so what do you think of the program this week? You enjoying it? What program? Like, what are you talking about? We have a conference going on here. What are you doing here? Aren't you here for the program? We are here to go to Persian club, bro. Dance music, bro. Best in Europe, bro. Okay, you said bro one too many times. And then you convince them to go to the session, and it gets more awkward because they don't want to. It's like, Siavash, just come to the session. It'll be good. Nah, I think we hang out here. We're going to club. Like, just come in. It'll be fun. And then you drag him in there, and they're like, so, what brings you to our program? And like, I want to learn about life and spirituality. But look, these behaviors were ingrained in us from childhood, to be proper, to be respectful. I'm sure all of us, to some degree, were told at some point, Daskasina Vishin, sit with your hands to your chest for non-Persian speakers, like during prayers, sit respectfully. And it always used to bother me, it's gonna be a bit of a personal anecdote here, because I have a cousin, my uncle's son, my mom's nephew. His dad is Persian, my uncle, but then his wife is American. And they grew up in like northern Minnesota, and like predominantly grew up with, you know, an American family. My daddy, yeah, didn't have too many Iranians around him, so my cousin's name was Daniel, and I remember we'd be at my cousin's house in Minnesota, and we'd be riding our bikes or something, and he would, I don't know, he'd be rude to his mom, or he'd talk back to her or something, and she would go, Daniel, you have 3 seconds to apologize. And he's like, no, Mom. And I was like, what are you doing? Just say sorry, like, just don't be a jerk. And she's like, Daniel, I'm going to count to 3, and if you don't say sorry, it's going to be bad. 1, he's like, no, Mom. 2, 3, you have a consequence now. No! Consequence, you know what that meant? She would put a tally on the board that he'd been bad. He'd come to me crying, I'm like, just shut up, man. Like, you don't know how good you have it. I don't really have a joke there, I just wanted to get that off my chest. That's it, you guys have been great, thank you very much.